The tech company Apple has responded to pressure from our government over cybersecurity, but not in the way ministers intended. They wanted Apple to allow law enforcement special access to the files of suspected criminals like paedophiles stored in the cloud under the highest level of security. Apple refused. Today, instead, it said it would scrap the advanced security tier itself for all UK users. That, some experts say, will leave the data of Britons more vulnerable than elsewhere in the world.
The vast majority of us use our phones every single day. We all rely on data, so security and privacy matters to each and every one of us. But today, after pressure from the government, Apple has announced it will remove its highest level of data protection for UK users.
Very sad day for UK privacy and security. Apple have done effectively the only thing they could do on being asked by the UK government to undermine encryption, which is to...
In a dramatic and unexpected move, Apple has announced that it will be withdrawing its Advanced Data Protection (ADP) feature for iCloud from the United Kingdom, a decision that has sparked outrage among users, privacy advocates and legal experts alike.
I've been shocked by the response from some of those in political parties on the right who once claimed to care about law and order. After rioters attacked the police, they should have given full-throated backing to our brave officers. Instead, too often we've seen them undermine the integrity and authority of the police, even making excuses for the mob. If you remember back in the run-up to Armistice Day last year, disgraceful slurs that were made against the police, which made it harder for them to do their job that day, were treated as a sacking offence for a Tory Home Secretary. A year on, those same slurs have become an article of faith for every Tory leadership contender. It is shameful what that party has become.
This unprecedented move follows a bitter dispute between Apple and the UK Home Secretary Yvette Cooper, who has been widely accused of undermining the digital privacy of millions of iPhone users. The dispute began when the Home Office issued a Secret Technical Capability Notice, TCN, to Apple, compelling the tech giant to create a backdoor that would allow the UK government to bypass encryption measures in iCloud. Cooper, citing national security concerns, claims that under the Investigatory Powers Act 2016, often referred to as the Snoopers Charter, the UK government has the legal authority to demand such compliance from tech companies. Apple, however, has long resisted such demands, maintaining that any deliberate weakening of encryption would not only compromise user security, but also set a dangerous precedent for government overreach.
Well, I think one of the controversial points about this is that users might actually never know if the Home Office do get this, are able to access encrypted data on their Apple phones. I should say, this is being reported in the Washington Post. The Home Office have not confirmed this. I suspect we may never get confirmation from the Home Office. The reason they're allowed to do this is a legislation that has gone through Parliament called the UK Investigatory Powers Act. It's also known by some critics as a Snoopers Charter. The government say it's all about protecting people from criminal, from child sex abusers, from terrorists. We know that in the wake of some terror attacks, there have been questions about why police, Home Office weren't able to access people's phone data. We know after the killing of 3 young girls in Southport, there were questions about why police couldn't see what Axel Rudukabana was viewing online. So I suspect that is the answer to the question, why do the government want to do this? In terms of any pushback, well, I think one of the criticisms is this going to set a precedent, and Big Brother Watch have released a statement. They say it's going to be
Instead of complying with the request, Apple made the unprecedented decision to withdraw ADP entirely from the UK, effectively stripping British users of one of the strongest data protection measures available.
Dealt with in the first place, or am I missing the point?
Allow me to bring a dose of reality into the conversation this afternoon.
Are you saying there's no reality to the Jeremy Kyle Drive show on tour? What are you saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about when policies are given flagship titles and everybody's supposed to get excited because all of a sudden, this time next year, the government would have us think we'll be living in some crime-free nirvana where we can leave our front doors open when we go up the road to do a bit of shopping. Utter nonsense. Let me point out that every government in recent history has had its own crime and policing bill. Every single one. And where has that got us? Rising crime, catastrophic detection rates, streets that are unsafe, or streets where people feel unsafe.
Public outrage and mass protests have followed as the decision has triggered an explosive reaction across the UK, with furious Apple users organising protests outside the Home Office headquarters in Westminster.
Data under the Investigatory Powers Act, which came into force under the Conservatives in 2016 and was amended during their tenure in April 2024, which is ironic because back in 2015, our great leader and freedom fighter, free speech warrior Sir Keir Starmer said this.
Surveillance should be targeted at those that need to be identified, etc., but it shouldn't be general and shouldn't apply to the public in general.
Really? Well, that was, of course, before he became the party leader, and, of course, now he's the Prime Minister. But now his government want to remove ADP. Now, that is Advanced Data Protection, which is an Apple security feature that provides end-to-end encryption. And this basically means that only you, the user, can access that data. Not even Apple can get their hands on it. It would give the government access to everything in your iCloud storage.
Hundreds of protesters chanted slogans condemning Cooper's actions as an assault on digital privacy, with some carrying placards accusing her of selling out UK citizens to mass surveillance, while others called for her immediate resignation. The backlash was not limited to the streets. Social media platforms were flooded with posts from outraged users, many of whom accused the government of treating the UK as a surveillance state. The Cooper resign quickly began trending on X, formerly Twitter, with thousands demanding an official parliamentary inquiry into the government's handling of digital rights. Political fallout and pressure are mounting on Cooper. Inside Parliament, Cooper faced an intense grilling from MPs across party lines, with many accusing her of recklessly jeopardising national cybersecurity. Some MPs warned that weakening encryption could expose government agencies, businesses and individuals to cyber attacks, pointing to the fact that many organisations rely on Apple's security infrastructure to safeguard sensitive data reports. They also suggest that Prime Minister Keir Starmer is deeply concerned about the growing crisis, with senior government officials privately urging Cooper to resign in a bid to contain the fallout.
Advanced data protection is our most advanced form of protection for customers' personal data in iCloud.
With legal action mounting and public anger reaching boiling point, political analysts speculate that Cooper may struggle to retain her position in the coming weeks. Privacy advocacy groups, including Big Brother Watch and Privacy International, have thrown their full support behind these legal challenges, with several high-profile lawyers now representing UK citizens who feel their digital rights have been unlawfully stripped away. Legal experts claim that these lawsuits could set a groundbreaking precedent for privacy laws in the UK, especially as some citizens accuse the government of colluding with Apple to downgrade encryption protections under the guise of national security. International reaction and Elon Musk's involvement in the controversy has not only dominated headlines in the UK, but has also sparked international concern over digital privacy rights. Tech experts and security analysts worldwide have criticised the UK government's approach, warning that such actions could encourage other governments to pursue similar measures. Even billionaire Elon Musk weighed in on the matter, posting on X that similar encryption backdoors would have been implemented in the United States if Donald Trump had not won the last election. This comment only served to further inflame tensions with many UK citizens, accusing their government of turning the country into a surveillance state, while other nations continue to uphold digital privacy rights. Many Apple customers have described this as digital theft, arguing that they purchased Apple devices with the expectation of top-tier security features only to have them removed due to government interference. Several affected users have launched petitions demanding government accountability. while others are exploring further legal avenues. Apple stands firm on encryption integrity. Although legally restricted from commenting directly on the secret government order,
up onto the iCloud, whether it's your photographs, your messages, your user data, is in the iCloud and is encrypted. And what they've done by making this request of Apple, which Apple were reluctant to do, didn't want to do this, instead of creating a backdoor basically for the government to use, they've just gotten rid of the feature entirely for people only in Britain. But it is extremely worrying because it's not, even if this is, as I'm sure they would argue, a security measure so that they can access, encrypted information from criminals, what this actually does is put the entire population of those like myself who are using iPhone, Apple products at risk of criminals, bad foreign actors. So it's a security risk, and
Apple has made it clear that it will not compromise encryption. The company has repeatedly warned that it would rather withdraw security features entirely than create any form of backdoor access. This latest action demonstrates that it is willing to stand by that principle, even at the cost of upsetting its UK customer base. The statement marks the first time Apple has followed through on such a warning, and privacy experts believe it could signal more resistance from tech companies against government-mandated surveillance measures in the future.
To ask all chief constables to look again at historic gang exploitation cases where no further action was taken, and to work with the Police Child Sexual Exploitation Task Force to pursue new lines of inquiry and reopen investigations where appropriate. And these new measures will be backed by £2 million additional funding for the task force and the panel.
What's next for the future of digital privacy in the UK? With lawsuits, political scrutiny and widespread public outrage, this controversy is far from over. Many experts believe this case will shape the future of digital privacy laws in the UK, potentially forcing Parliament to reconsider some of its most controversial surveillance policies. The key questions remain. Will the UK government backtrack on its demands for encryption backdoors? Could other tech giants follow Apple's lead and withdraw certain security features from the UK? How will this impact the global debate over the balance between national security and individual privacy?
And also to scrap and replace business rates so that we can support our local high street shops and pubs.
The government announced this new offence of attacking shop workers today. What's your response to that?
Well, the Conservatives have finally done a U-turn and agreed to Labour's plan for a...
The argument has been divided into two. On one hand, the Home Office argued that robust encryption measures obstruct law enforcement's ability to track criminals, detect threats, and prevent cybercrime. They claim that terrorist organisations, child exploitation networks and cyber criminals have exploited encrypted services to hide illicit activities from authorities. On the other side of the argument, privacy advocates, security researchers and tech firms assert that any attempt to weaken encryption compromises cybersecurity for everyone. Creating a backdoor for law enforcement, they argue, inevitably creates vulnerabilities that hackers and foreign adversaries could exploit, putting personal data, financial transactions and even government secrets at risk.
The Home Secretary commented on a Met Police video of officers breaking up an illegal party in London. She said, "This illegal gathering was an insult to those hospitalised with COVID, our NHS staff and everyone staying at home to protect them. Police are enforcing the rules to save lives." Why has she now changed her mind?
Well, I would like to welcome the Right Honourable Lady to her role, actually. We did not get the chance to do that last time round when we met on the National Anti-Borders Bill. But of course, Mr Speaker, with regards to coronavirus regulations, I stand by my...
The protests, described as some of the largest digital rights demonstrations in UK history, saw tech experts, lawyers and MPs from multiple parties expressing opposition to government overreach. Even members of Cooper's own party expressed unease about the decision, fearing that it could backfire politically by alienating tech-savvy younger voters and eroding trust in the government's approach to cybersecurity. Within days of Apple's announcement, multiple class action lawsuits against both the UK government and Apple showed the seriousness of the situation. However, it remains to be seen how Starmer, Yvette Cooper and other members of the Labour Party handle this potential firestorm. If you enjoyed this political discussion, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content.